The equation represents the reaction between two gases to form compound. This energy profile diagram is shown. तो ये हमें क्या बता रहे हैं? कह रहे रिएक्टेंट्स थे, उनकी एनर्जी इंक्रीज की, फिर डिक्रीज की, प्रोडक्ट्स बन गए. जितनी इंक्रीज किया वो कम है, जितनी डिक्रीज किया वो ज्यादा है. सो ओवरऑल ये क्या है? एक्सोथर्मिक. And what is the activation energy? Activation energy is this. Now, sometimes we also have reverse reaction. So reverse reaction starts at the products, absorbs this energy, releases this energy, ends at the reactants. So opposite चलता है. So उस केस में उसने इतनी एनर्जी अब्सॉर्ब करनी, तो उसकी एक्टिवेशन एनर्जी ये पूरी होगी. अगर रिवर्स की बात हो, फॉरवर्ड की बात हो, तो एक्टिवेशन एनर्जी सिर्फ इतनी सी होगी. So let's see. The activation energy is equal to E. No, activation energy of the backward reaction is equal to E. The enthalpy change is equal to E. No, enthalpy change तो इतनी ही रहेगी ना, वो चाहे फॉरवर्ड हो चाहे बैकवर्ड हो उतनी ही रहनी है. Reactions exothermic, yes, that is true. आगे वो क्या कह रहा है? Total energy needed to break bonds is greater than total energy needed to form bonds. यानी कि वो कह रहा है कि bonds break होने वाली एनर्जी ज्यादा है, यानी कि वो एंडोथर्मिक कह रहा है इसको. That's wrong. Which statement about endothermic reactions are correct? Energy is absorbed from the surroundings. Yes, that is true. Overall तो यही होता है. Energy is released from the surroundings होती है, लेकिन overall absorb ज्यादा होती है. Temperature of the reaction falls. Yes, that is true. So 1 and 3. The diagram shows the energy profile of a chemical reaction. Which row is correct? The reaction is endothermic. Yes, that is true. कौन सा है वो जिसने अब्जॉर्ब ज्यादा किया? तो अब्जॉर्ब ज्यादा हुई है, रिलीज कम हुई है, ये फॉरवर्ड रिएक्शन. और एक्सोथर्मिक कौन सा है? बैकवर्ड रिएक्शन, क्योंकि अब्जॉर्ब कम हुई है, रिलीज ज्यादा हुई है. सो फॉरवर्ड रिएक्शन इज एंडोथर्मिक. सो हमारा आंसर इन दोनों में से होगा. द रिएक्शन विद ग्रेटर एक्टिवेशन एनर्जी, यानी कि किस रिएक्शन ने अब्जॉर्ब ज्यादा की है? भाई जिसने अब्जॉर्ब ज्यादा की है वो ये है ना. सो ये रिएक्टेंट्स, फॉरवर्ड रिएक्शन. Which statement about exothermic and endothermic reaction is correct? Now remember, दोनों में एनर्जी अब्सॉर्ब भी होती है, रिलीज भी होती है, बट वन ऑफ देम इज मोर. ओके, let's see. In an endothermic reaction, energy is used to break bonds, but no energy released when bonds form. That's wrong. In endothermic reaction, energy is released when bonds form, but more energy is used to break bonds. That is true. क्योंकि एंडोथर्मिक में यही होता है कि अब्सॉर्ब ज्यादा कर रहा है वो. अब्सॉर्ब एंड रिलीज दोनों करता है, अब्सॉर्ब ज्यादा करता है. Energy profile diagram is shown. What does the arrow R mean? So R क्या है? The start and the end. So that's the delta H. So that is the overall energy change, यानी कि enthalpy. The diagram shows the energy profile diagram of a reaction. You can see कि वो दो different pathways, दो different routes से reaction कर रहा है. And route 1 absorbs more energy, so it is more endothermic. And route 2 has lower activation energy. But overall, enthalpy is still the same because it does not matter अब किस route से जाओ, the total enthalpy stays the same. So let's see. More energy is needed to break the bond than released when new bonds are formed. That's wrong because वो तो एंडो में होता है, ये तो एक्सोथर्मिक रिएक्शन है. इसमें तो रिलीज ज्यादा हो रही है, अब्सॉर्ब कम हो रही है. Route 1 and route 2 give the same overall equation for the reaction. That is true. Route 2 involves use of catalyst. Yes, क्योंकि वो एक्टिवेशन एनर्जी कम है उसकी. Reactions exothermic, ये बात भी ठीक है. So 2, 3 and 4. A reaction is exothermic, which diagram shows the correct energy profile. So it's exothermic, which means delta H is negative and overall it releases more energy. So absorb वाला कम होना चाहिए, release वाला ज्यादा होना चाहिए. So yeah, D is the answer. Under certain conditions, nitrogen reacts with oxygen to form this. The energy profile is shown. Okay. What's the activation energy for the reverse reaction? अब देखो फॉरवर्ड रिएक्शन की एक्टिवेशन एनर्जी ये पूरी होगी 447, बट बैकवर्ड रिएक्शन की सिर्फ इतनी होगी। अब जरा आप एक चीज, आपने वेक्टर्स पढ़े हुए हैं, आपको पता है कि ये टोटल हाइट अगर 447 है और ये 164 है, we'll just subtract them. So 447 minus 164. So plus 283. Also notice that activation energy is always positive. Why? Because it's always the energy required to break the bonds. Okay, we have three reactions here. And they're saying which ones are endothermic only. Yani कि which ones absorb energy. Let's see. In this one, we had these, we broke the bonds and we got the atoms. Notice that when you get atoms, they don't have any bonds. So इसका मतलब है इसमें सिर्फ energy break, bonds are only broken. Bonds form नहीं हुई. So this is definitely endothermic. But ये half reaction है, ये complete reaction नहीं है. Similarly, in this one, we are starting with atoms which have no bonds, and we're ending with molecules, which means energy is released because bonds are made. Similarly, in this one, we have a gas changing to a liquid. Gas has more energy, liquid has less energy. So where did the energy go? It released it. So only the first one is endothermic. The energy profile of the forward reaction is shown, okay. For the reverse reaction, reverse matlab starts here, activation energy ये releases ज़्यादा and ends here. So आप देख सकते हो कि forward में it's endo, backward में it's exo. And secondly, forward में it has this activation energy and backward में it has this activation energy. Sign of activation energy is always positive. हमेशा उसने absorb ही होना होता है. Type of enthalpy change of the reverse reaction is exothermic. So D is the answer. So far, कोई question, कोई चीज समझ नहीं आई? Okay. This reaction is endothermic. और इसकी diagram हमने बनानी. So that means it starts somewhere, goes up, comes down, but not that much, and then it ends. So these are our reactants. These are our products. What's the delta H? Delta H is this. And what's the activation energy? This. There you go. यहाँ से ये activation energy. When aluminum is heated in chlorine, aluminum chloride is formed. Reaction is exothermic. Explain in terms of bond breaking and bond making. Why is this reaction exothermic? So उसने why पूछा. So 1 mark is for background, 1 mark is for explaining why. So let's give the background. We'll say that bond making absorbs energy, or we can say is endothermic. And bond breaking is endothermic. Bond breaking is endothermic. And in this reaction, energy of bonds made, energy released when bonds are made is higher than energy absorbed in bond breaking. अब वो क्या कह रहा है? The sample contains 1 mole hydrogen peroxide completely decomposed. It releases 98 kilojoules of energy. 1 mole बनाने के लिए 98 kilojoules वो रिलीज कर रहा है. अच्छा, अब वो कह रहा है 680 grams कितनी एनर्जी रिलीज करेगा. So let's first figure out कि 1 mole होता कितना है. So 680 grams divided by mr. So H2O2 का mr होगा 2 plus 2 times 16. So that is 680 over 34. So that is 20 moles. So आपके पास ये चीज mass over mr, 20 moles of this thing. 1 mole is releasing 98. So 98 times 20. So whatever that comes out to be. Okay. In this reaction or in decomposition, energy released is more than energy absorbed. That answers the question. हमने उसको bonds की बात भी कर ली, हमने बता दिया कौन सी एंडोथर्मिक है, कौन सी एक्सोथर्मिक है और कौन सी ओवरऑल ज्यादा हो रही. Okay, we have this graph. Identify the energy changes. So A starts at the reactants, ends at the products. This is the enthalpy. And B starts at the reactant, ends at the top. So that is the activation energy. You can write the whole word activation energy, or you can just write EA. Both are acceptable. The rate of decomposition is greater than that of cold. Use ideas about particles. Why? So आपको शुरू में मैंने बताया था that is the energy of the जो colliding particles होते हैं जिससे reaction होता है. So जब वो hot है तो they have higher kinetic energy. So more of them have activation energy. ठीक है. जब वो cold है तो less particles have enough energy. So more particles in hot H2O2 have energy greater than activation energy. So more particles collide per unit time. कि वो एक ही टाइम में ज्यादा पार्टिकल्स कोलाइड करें successfully. So the word successfully is important. They are colliding more, but not just colliding more. More of them are making successful collisions. जब वो कोल्ड है तो वो कोलाइड तो कर रहे हैं बट दे आर नॉट मेकिंग सक्सेसफुल कोलिजन्स क्योंकि उनके पास उतनी एनर्जी नहीं है. बट व्हेन इट्स हॉट देन दे हैव सक्सेसफुल कोलिजन्स क्योंकि उनके पास एनर्जी इतनी है कि वो इजीली कर सके. And that brings us to the end of this test.